So originally I was going to do a full-on review of Katherine Full Body, but as I got to the endings, something hit me, and it made me think twice about doing just a simple little review with funny jokes and edits and such. And that's the fact that Katherine, as a game, holds a philosophy that is much more complex than I initially realized, especially the first time playing it when I was in high school. So I hope you will indulge me, or maybe even interact with the ideas I'm going to propose. So first, I should give a bit of an introduction to my history with this game. So Katherine the original represents something special. It represents my high school years, but more than that, it represented something that I yearned for, yet I just couldn't articulate at the time. And that idea was freedom. Freedom of choice, freedom of love, freedom of one's true self. And I believe that Katherine Full Body not only expands on that idea, but perfects it in a way that, honestly, needs to be experienced to be believed. The way that this game provides its philosophy is by asking questions where the answers can only come from the one playing it. What is freedom to you? Is who you choose in the game who you really want? Or is it the one that is more acceptable to those around you? Is the freedom you want even in this game at all? Do any of the love interests truly represent the freedom you want, or is it something more akin to the ending where Vincent is single and in space? This game gives you so many choices to think about and so many ideas to mull over that by the end of the game, only you can truly say if the choice you made was the choice you wanted to make. And not in the sense that the game limits you, but in the sense that you have to really look at yourself and understand, did I make this choice because it makes me happy? Or did I make this choice because I thought someone else would be happy? Or I thought it would be the better ending? And in doing so, the entire game comes into its own as a very well thought out, self-reflective type of game. But what is all this but mindless platitudes? Show the game, show the evidence. Well, I think the best way to show what I mean is to use each of the main love interests as examples, and along with some other side points. Katherine with a K has always struck me as the odd one of the bunch. Always strict, always cold. In the original, she came off, honestly, sometimes as downright heartless. In some way, she represents the idea of fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of losing the freedom you once had. This is shown no more overtly than when she brings up both marriage and pregnancy to Vincent. While Vincent is afraid of Katherine having a child while he is having an affair, deep down he is more afraid of the commitment it will take. The idea that he will no longer be the man he once was, since now he has to take responsibility. How much he has to give up to make not only his bride but his potential child comfortable for life. But while she does represent the loss of freedom, I also think she represents the understanding of one's own life when it no longer becomes their own life. The same understanding that, ironically enough, Vincent not only comes to during her route, but fully embraces. And in a way that you can even say marrying Katherine is in and of itself its own form of freedom. A freedom that, while may not be for Vincent alone, will lead to a happier and more stable life. A life he knows that he is not only willing to fight for, but go to the ends of hell for. It's possibly the most storybook or movie-like in its simplicity, but not one that is entirely unrealistic. In a way, Katherine provides a wall of maturity that Vincent has to climb over to truly prove to no one but himself he is ready for anything that comes his way, whether it be Katherine as his bride or the mother of his child. So on the outset, it doesn't seem like it represents freedom at all. But in reality, what is more free than a man deciding to give it all up for the one he truly loves? Even if that means he will no longer be the man he once was, and even if that means he has to give up what he always thought he could be. Katherine with a C, while a more straightforward idea of freedom, still has traces of something you may not think of the first time going into it. While yes, she does represent sexual freedom, she also represents the freedom of self, the freedom to go to one to another, never seeming to care who she hurts or who falls in love with her. One could say her style of freedom is the most dangerous, since it's a type that could lead to a lot of pain and misery down the road, but it also leads to Vincent opening his eyes to the possibilities of being fully open, not caring what others think. Others be damned, just as long as he is free. Which, funnily enough, goes into his true ending with Katherine, where he becomes her husband in the demon realm. He has fully embraced the chaotic nature of his freedom, his truest self without inhibitors. Nothing to tie him down, nothing to keep him away from his most carnal urges, a life of lust and indulgence, but in a way that he still gets to belong to the one he loves the most. Is it a stable way of living? Who knows? Because that isn't our place to know. That's yours. Which is why when choosing her route, the game almost seems like it's asking you if you are sure. Because you don't know what's down this road, nor do you know what will happen when you go too far. One could say that is the theme with all three of these choices. But this one is the most mysterious of the routes, and in a way, may be the most alluring and sought after of the three we speak of today. The freedom to truly be free, as it were. Rin is possibly the most pure distillation of what freedom can mean. As a man, Vincent has to come to grips with, falling in love with another man, something he has seen up to this point a boundary too far, something he considers abnormal. But as the game goes on, he begins to fully realize the freedom Rin brings, the freedom of love, the freedom that helps him realize he thought his happiness was only tied to the female sex, when just now, as he has begun to open the door into a new horizon, he finally realizes love goes beyond anything physical. It's emotional, it's spiritual, which is why while Rin brings the freedom of love, she also brings in the freedom of the spirit, the freedom of the soul, the freedom to truly let your soul wander into happiness in a way that doesn't have to be tied down to a social norm or even a self-imposed inhibitor. In fact, the game takes it one step further by not only showing that Rin is a man, but he is an alien, who Vincent also fully embraces and accepts, finalizing his cycle from a man who thought love and freedom could only be one way to a man who has finally opened his eyes to see the forest past the trees. Which is why when you answer questions for her, her meter, as it were, isn't to move blue or red, it's to break the meter, break the mold, bloom into something more than just right and wrong, something better than right and wrong, something, for lack of a better word, more beautiful, more natural than a simple binary system of right and wrong. She is the true nature of the player personified. Now, while it may seem like this video is favoring one over the other, and in a way I will admit my own personal biases when speaking on the characters, but even so, I can truthfully state the following. This game, while it does sort of hint at there being a right or wrong answer, the choice at the end of it all is still up to you. The game, while yes, has some jokey bad endings, in reality, the true endings of the game never chastise the player for their choice. Every choice is a valid one. Every route gives you what you paid for, essentially. Your freedom is valid. Your choice is your own. Whether that choice ends up going sour or if it ends up becoming what you believe in, that's all on your shoulders. The game gave you a helping hand to just realize that. And that doesn't just stop at the choices you make romantically. Everything you choose in this game is your own. Everything you do in this game is up to you. There's pretty much nothing left to some random chance. Even the idea of Vincent climbing the tower is still a choice, the choice to overcome the obstacle in your way, to obtain the freedom that you truly believe in. And as the puzzles get harder, so does the game's questioning of your will, your resolve. Do you truly want this? Are you willing to go through it all for the one you truly believe in? Do you believe in the freedom of giving it your all to the one you love? The freedom of being who you want to be and others be damned? Or do you want to just wish to be happy with the one you love, the one you care for, despite what the outside may be? Perhaps it's not even one of the love interests. It's simply just to go to space and roam the stars, full free, fully you. Not a single soul to tie you down. No one to love but yourself. The game never tells you if you're right or if you're wrong, because no one can. The choice you made is yours. You made it with the resolve you have. You built it over the course of the game. So, who are the developers to admonish you for your choices? As said at the start, playing the original Katherine when I was in high school, it was at just the right time where I was beginning to understand philosophy, the self, romance, something that I didn't really give much thought to at the time, and even now I feel quite juvenile in my view of it. But playing full body again, but this time with a more critical eye, so much popped out to me that I severely overlooked before. So much that I just didn't realize in a weird way. Made me think about myself in a way I hadn't thought of since high school. You may say that's childish, but I think if anything, it's possibly the highest praise I can give this game. Something that on the surface is just some funny, cute puzzle game can have such a large impact on not only myself, but many others I have spoken to. And every single one of them had an idea of what freedom truly meant. Some saw Katherine with a K as the only viable option. Some saw Katherine with a C as, well, I get to live my life. Some saw Rin as somebody to lift them up from the banal normalcy of life. So many different questions and so many different ways to answer those questions from people all around the world because of this game. And all of that comes back to the same idea of freedom. The freedom of choice, the freedom of love, the freedom of the spirit, the freedom to be you. And the game represents that in a way that you need to just let your mind settle in to truly appreciate. Now, of course, this game is not the most cerebral game out there, but it's not supposed to be. It's not trying to change the world. It's trying to make you see your world just a little bit differently. And just like in real life, you make a choice every single day. You choose to get out of bed, you choose to go to work, you choose to follow your dreams, which is why a game like Katherine can truly be so powerful to so many people, male and female. While yes, it has wonderful music, lovely characters, and legitimately fun puzzle solving, all of it is just the cherry on top of the core, the soul, the philosophy of this game. And all of that lies with you. So, I ask you one more time. What is freedom to you? Thank you.